Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back if you're returning, and welcome if you're new here. Today, I want to talk about something that I had never done before until now. And it's something that a lot of people have done, so I'm surprised that I haven't done this yet. But once I did it, I felt so accomplished. So basically, the thing that I did was mow the lawn. And I know a lot of people have mowed their lawn before and they think, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But I've never mowed a lawn before, and I don't know why. But I mowed the lawn where the place I'm living, and it was a whole experience, because if you were to see what the lawn looked like before, I should insert some videos and some pictures to show you what the lawn looked like before. Then you would understand why the lawn went from looking disheveled to looking very nice, if you know what I'm saying. And so it was a whole process. First of all, I thought the only tool that I had was a non-electric mower, and as you can see from the grass from the before, when I tried to use the non-electric mower on that grass, it was not very successful. It was very difficult. I was not able to get very far, and so I had to reconvene with myself and figure out a new plan. And so I discovered that there was actually another lawnmower. It was a cordless electric mower. But then when I realized from taking a look at the lawn that there was a lot of weeds growing, like I knew there was already a lot of weeds growing, but I hadn't specifically looked as to what type of weeds that were growing on the lawn. And I knew that certain type of weeds have really thick roots, and so it would interfere with the mowing of the lawn process. Even though I had never mowed a lawn, I've definitely grown up seeing lawns mowed, and I've definitely done some gardening, so I know some basic lawn maintenance type of stuff. So it didn't feel like I was doing this from scratch, even though it was the first time I had mowed a lawn before. So basically, I discovered that there were these dandelion roots all over the yard. So I went and I started digging out the roots, because I knew once I dug out the roots, it would be easier to mow the lawn, because there wouldn't be so much interference with weeds. There was other types of weeds. I don't know if I can maybe look up and see what they were, or if I even know what they were. But there was a couple different types of weeds on the lawn that are still kind of on the lawn, but just not in the abundance that they were when I was working on the lawn. So let me tell you, this project, it actually took a couple days, because one, I first tried with the non-electric mower and I didn't get very far with that. And then I also spent another day or two on pulling out the weeds, digging out the weeds, and gathering up all the grass, which ended up filling, at this point, was two full, like a huge bin, like a city bin of yard waste, and then also another huge paper garbage bag of, like a paper bag, but like the really large ones for yard waste. That I filled it with grass as well. And so then, so after I pulled up the weeds, then I basically started mowing the lawn with the electric mower, the cordless one. But the problem with that was that the charge would only hold for half an hour, approximately. So I wasn't able to do all the yard in one go. So I started out, and also because the grass was so long, it took up a lot of energy just to chop down that long grass / dry weeds / weeds. And so I tackled it section by section and tried to get down the weeds as much as possible. So I'm pretty sure from the first round, I was able to chop down. I saw that I was able to chop down some of the weeds. So then I charged it up again, and then again I went and, charged it, and then I chopped down more of the weeds. And then I could see, oh, this is actually working. So I charged it again, and then I went over it and got the most of, basically the majority of the grass. Just checking my timer here. So then basically, I think it was the third round of using the electric mower, the cordless electric mower, I was able to get the majority of the grass. And then I could see there was little parts that I had missed. So I went in the fourth time after I charged it again, and then got those little leftover parts that I hadn't got the first round. And so basically I bagged everything up, and I put everything into those into the bin, into the bag. And then I went and cleaned up a little bit and found a couple more dandelion weeds, and then bagged that up. And the grass was looking pretty dry at the end, but the yard was looking way better. And I just remember thinking that for the sake of my own mental health, I needed to do that. I know sometimes you're walking around the neighborhood and you see that one neighbor's yard, and the grass is so long and the yard is so unkempt, and you're wondering, why is this person's lawn like this? And it's like, at first you're like, yeah, maybe they're not home, but then you see a bunch of cars in the driveway, you see people coming in and out of the house, and you're wondering, why is this lawn looking so disheveled and so unkempt? There could be so many reasons. I feel like the majority of the time is the people who are responsible for looking after the property either are not present or do not have the mental health capacity to take on that task. It probably got to that point after a long period of time, and then instead of regularly keeping up the maintenance, they just kind of let it go more and more and more. And that's just kind of the vibe of what it looked like from me seeing the lawn. I was like, oh, this lawn hasn't really been kept up in a while. And then I realized that, you really have to be in a certain kind of mental space in order to tackle on something like that, because it's not a difficult project, but you kind of have to go, like break it up into small parts and potentially do it over several days to get it done, because it could be overwhelming doing it all at once, especially in the hot heat, the sun's blaring down. It seems like it could be a great task, like a large task. But like I said, what I did, I just broke it up into small tasks, and I did it over a couple days. And, honestly, when it was done, I was so happy, because I was like, you know what? My mental health just improved from getting rid of all this weeds and long grass. And yeah, I made a decision that I was going to do it, and I did it. It's something I hadn't done before, but I knew it's something I could do, provided I had the right tools. And at first, with the electric mower or the non-electric mower, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to even get it done. If I was going to even be able to complete the task. But once I got the electric cordless mower, everything kind of sped up from there, and I was able to fill that bin in that bag, and I got her done. And I, took on a new skill, which is not difficult, but, I felt like it was important, not only for my mental health, but for the mental health of anybody around who has to walk by it and see it on a regular basis. Now they don't have to see that. Now they can just see a regular yard with dry grass. I wish the grass wasn't dry, but that's a whole other thing, is to then reseed it and then water it to get the grass luscious again. But I committed to taking down the grass, taking down the weeds, having it nice and clean. And that's what I did. And I had a great time doing it. It was a great experience. And that's what it is. So that's the video for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you're into yard work. Drop a comment below. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.